Hi, and welcome to Beyond Sunday. I'm Brandon Walters, Reverend James King. James, how you been?
I've been doing pretty good.
Everything's going well?
Going great.
All right,
Great,
well,
actually.
good, because I'm going to throw a little curveball at you.
Oh,
today, 'cause,
okay. All right.
I want to talk about miracles.
Miracles.
Now, miracles is it's kind of an out there subject because it can go so many different ways. People have so many
Right.
different definitions of miracle. So I want to get your take on it. What's a miracle to you?
What is a miracle? Well, I would say that a miracle is that direct link between us and the universal consciousness or universal mind. In other words, it bypasses the logical, linear mind and goes directly to the infinite mind. And so when you do that, things can happen instantly or quickly. Things that work themselves out that you didn't have to figure it out, it just happens.
Well, a lot of people think miracles are just something that their definition is maybe that something that just is impossible logically.
Right, right.
But then on the other hand, I'm one of those people who, hey, watching a tree grow and have apples
Right.
is quite a miracle.
Yeah.
The way it works and the way
Sure.
nature works. There's a lot of miracles going on out there.
Everything's a miracle.
Yeah, so it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So, have you had miracles? Something that you consider a miracle in your life?
Well, sure. Like you said, everything is a miracle. But in this life, we're programmed to look at things from a linear perspective. And so we miss the miracles. It's like people complain because their food is not exactly, when you grow an apple is not always, perfect red and, like they try to make it look. And so we expect perfection. We have all these expectations and we miss the true beauty and the true essence, that is behind everything, that causes everything to be what it is, and not realizing that even with the blemishes, that the apple is perfect. That's a miracle, because it just grows out of nothing, basically. So everything, you came from nothing, I came from nothing. Everything that we see with our eyes, behind it is hidden the truth or the essence of everything. And so that's where we came from, is from that nothingness, so to speak.
Well, so tell me about some in your life. Have you had some that you
Well,
consider
sure.
a miracle? Things that happen?
I have seen physical manifestations, of people being healed. I've seen people who've had one leg shorter than another. I've actually held their legs in my hand, and one couple of times I've seen a leg just kind of grow out, And when you start talking about these things, people say, why don't you do that all the time,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I believe that we're living at a time now where the potential for miracles is greater than ever, because people are being pushed out of their comfort zone, being pushed out of that normal, regular routine of life, out of the ditch that we've been in, the rut that we've been in, and it's causing people to have to think outside the box. And when you start mixing in some creative imagination, then that begins to open the door for all kinds of new and different things to happen.
You start connecting with the infinite in a different way.
Absolutely.
When you use an imagination, it's more of a connection.
Absolutely.
Well, there's also a school of thought out there that quantum physicists might say, well, that's
Yes.
not a miracle. That's just something we can all do.
Right.
That's not a miracle to them necessarily,
Yeah.
because it's in quantum physics you're giving it over to the superior mind or the
Sure.
all one,
Right.
whatever that is, the ether, in other
Yes.
words. And so miracles can happen like that, which
Right.
they don't see as miracles.
Right.
So it's all in your perspective.
Yeah.
Because I've had some things, synchronicities that happen. And I
Right,
go,
right.
Man,
Yeah.
what are the odds?
Right.
That's not logical.
Exactly.
That's not logical. So,
Yeah.
would you say that would be a miracle?
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
is that just lining up and letting things, that's the way you're supposed to run,
Well, in reality, miracles is just a higher science that we're just now discovering through quantum physics. It is a higher science. In other words, instead of having to plant a seed in the ground and watch it grow, which is a miracle, okay, we can actually go bypass all of that and go right to exactly what we need, you know. Instead of going through the whole process, we can jump time, you know, because time is really subjective anyway. You know, it's a theory or an idea or a concept in our heads. And so, but as long as we're in the logical, rational mind, we're not going to see miracles. And so if you don't believe in miracles, don't worry about it, because you're not going to get one. You know? Because you have to make room for miracles.
Right.
You know? Because if you're already crowded with ideas and thoughts about how things should be and expectations, then a miracle can't happen for you.
And where does God come in?
Well, God is all of that. You know, God is, in my understanding, you know, is that God is everything, you know. And so God is spirit, God is the essence, you know, behind it all. And so it's the fabric of the universe that everything is created from. You know, we just happen to call it God, you know, because that's just a human word that we use in English to describe something that we don't totally, completely understand. And knowing that you and I are parts of that essence, you know, that essence is in us. So if the miracle power comes from that divine power, from God, from the divine essence, then it's in us too.
So I'm going to go back to you talking about expecting miracles.
Yes.
You kind of touched on that a little bit. So I want to go back to that because there's certainly a gap there. Expecting miracles, expecting a miracle, and then kind of what your version of that miracle is. Because I think they seem to come more freely and frequently if you can just expect it to be taken care of, but not worrying about how that miracle comes about.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
let's talk about that a little bit, because you know, people, where's my miracle? You know,
right?
Kind of thing. I've been there. Where's my miracle?
Yeah.
You know, so how do we get to that place to allow it?
Yeah. Well, you know, we just have to realize that we have to create a field of miracles. You know, an energy field. It's like people who do these magic shows, you know, where they're sawing somebody in half, or they're, you know, pulling rabbits out of half, whatever it is, you know. They're creating an illusion, you know, and in a sense, they're creating magic, okay? They're creating a miracle, in a sense, because it looks like to us that they really did this thing, you know. And so, what it is then that we can also do that. We can pull rabbits out of hats, you know, and we can do those kind of things, but we do it through our own belief and allowing and surrendering to the process of right now, you know, and constantly engaging in the present moment and just realizing that this moment can change just like that, that energy can change on a dime. You can be going in one direction and all of a sudden you get a shift in consciousness and then you're going this way. And, you know, when you split like that, then you end up way over here where you were going way over there.
So you just want to, it sounds like you just want to allow for the possibility. Just set yourself up so it's
exactly.
possible.
It's possible.
possible.
Anything is possible. And that's what Jesus said. All things are possible, you know? And so he was trying to teach us some quantum physics, you know?
Yeah.
This higher science of miracles, you know, that anything can happen. If it's like inside of us, we have all these personas, okay? You were a tennis pro, right? And
Long time ago.
Long time ago, okay.
2 backs ago.
But that persona is still inside of you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so if I started talking to you about tennis, okay, and what that was like, you would assume that persona, and then you would begin to relate to all of those things, and memories would start flooding in, feelings, experiences, and places that you've been, and all of a sudden, all of this, you know, comes through you because you tap into that persona. You're also a father, right? And so you're many different things. And so we also have a miracle worker inside of us. Okay?
Yeah.
And so what you want to do is tap into that, you know. And the miracle worker inside of you could be the holy fool, you know, who just believes that, wow, you know, it could happen. Anything's possible. And so what you do whenever you have a situation that demands a miracle, you assume the persona of that person that can connect to the higher mind the most easily through creative visualization, through embodying this persona, and through feeling it, tasting it, touching it, experiencing it. And when you start to mix those things inside of yourself, then that links you. That's the quickest way to link to the higher mind is through creativity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but well, I want to clarify, because when you're
Okay.
talking about feeling it, tasting it, are we feeling what it looks like on the other side of that miracle? Or are we feeling that, because you said connecting to that miracle persona of yours,
Yes,
that miracle. So which one is that? Because that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
I got to connect to the right person here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I have to do is, like on a Sunday morning, I connect with the part of me that is the teacher, the inspirational teacher, motivator, minister, okay, persona. And then I embody that. And so whenever I embody that, it's like clicking in, okay, to that divine mind, and then it begins to come through me, see? And a lot of it, it just comes. You know, I don't know where it comes from. It just comes, and you know things, and you hear things, and you do things, and you say things that you wouldn't have said in your rational, logical, analytical mind. See? So I assume that persona, okay? And then when I'm done, I hang it up, you know, until I need it again. And so we have all of these various, because it has to do with the state of mind. In the normal, traditional beta state, which is the awake state, is usually about anxiety, okay, and fearfulness. And in that state of mind, there are no miracles. They don't exist. So you have to drop down into the more relaxed state of mind, which is the alpha state or the theta state. And there's been many books written about the theta state. It's called the miracle mind, okay?
Okay.
And so the more relaxed you can be, then in these personas, and then you start playing, you know, you start imagining, you start feeling, you start embodying, and you start speaking from those places, and then before you know it, you're creating a magical inner field of energy around you where things can happen, you know? It's like people who are healers, they usually travel around with other people that are healers, and they begin to assume the spiritual energy of those people, and they pick up on that, and then they develop their own personas to get into that healing flow.
Sounds like it's almost like acting a role.
Yes, exactly.
But I think the hardest thing that people go through, I know me, is how do I act that role when everything around me screams something different, you know, and I
Right,
still got to
right.
live life that's
Right.
maybe smacking me
Well,
around.
you're
a little
acting
bit.
right now.
Yeah, I'm acting like
So
I
who
like
are you right now? Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm acting like I'm interested. No.
Exactly. So, you know, you're doing it now. So the key is sometimes you have to prime the pump. You know, sometimes you do have to prime the pump, and you begin to get back in your body, into your senses, into your feelings, and because if you're in your head, you're in a place that you don't want to hang out too long, because that's where all the cobwebs are. That's where all the dirty laundry is. That's where all the stuff is. The Keystone Cops are bumping around in there. You know what I mean? The Three Stooges.
Absolute chaos.
Yeah, you know, and so you don't want to spend too much time. You want to get back in your body, and you want to embody, you know, a persona that is allowing for miracles, that makes room for miracles, that says, you know, this or something better. You know, the whatever is going on with my body right now, you know, this could just clear up just like that. Who knows? You know?
That's right.
I mean, you don't have to make any.
Possibility,
Yeah, you are open to the possibilities
Of whatever.
of whatever.
Yeah. I think that's the key there.
Yeah, yeah.
It may not be your way, but it could be a different kind of miracle.
Right,
That
right.
still has the same effect or result.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let me get this straight. So
Okay.
sounds like step one,
Yes.
try to be present, maybe drop down into your heart
Yes. Relax.
so that it gets you relaxed. Get out of the Keystone Cup
Right.
place. So that nobody likes to be around dirty laundry, so get out of there because then you might have to clean it.
There you go. Yeah. Do
And then
something with it.
2, let your imagination run a little bit. And,
Yeah.
and 3, try to be that, act that.
Yeah.
Assume that
Start
role
acting it out
as
until
best you can. Yeah.
the juices begin to flow. You know what I mean by
And then
that?
what happens? Well, yeah, you start feeling it. Yeah.
You begin to feel it.
And then what?
Then the divine ideas drop in. Then you get thoughts. And then you're with somebody, and you feel, oh, maybe I just feel to put my hand on this person's shoulder. And you do that, and you rub their shoulder for a minute, asking them first, of course. Getting their permission.
It's gonna have to go on another website, James.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing over there. But, and you may feel to do certain things that you don't normally do, okay? And that's when you know.
Introduce yourself to someone or
Right,
start a conversation.
right,
maybe,
yeah. Because how many times.
Call someone that you needed to call. You
Exactly.
wouldn't have
How
thought
many
about calling, yeah.
times are we looking for the answer in all the wrong places? We're not realizing that where we're at right now, the answers are potentially all around us.
It's
So
the
all I
difference
have to do is
between
reach out to.
kind of forcing your will and letting and kind of allowing things.
Right,
The
right,
difference,
yeah.
which
Letting
is
it
easier
happen.
said than done, but because
Yeah.
we have this, I
Yeah.
mean, we're brought up our whole lives. Work harder, make
Right.
it happen, and
Yeah.
just do it,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
And all that does is tire you out and wear out your body and clutter your mind and fatigue you. That's all that does. And so what you want to do is stay in the playful realm as much as you can, And of course, sometimes we have to check in and do the laundry. We got to drive the car. We have to do the things we have to do. But I think every day we should look for beauty in the world. Every day we should try to do something that we enjoy doing that brings pleasure to us. We should try to find something that is creative, that gets our juices flowing, because that's where the magic happens,
yeah,
That's
when you make your connection. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like people who write books, or people who direct films, when they get in that creative flow, I mean, something else takes over,
Yeah.
and we just become a
goes through them,
channel.
yeah,
It goes
goes through,
through.
yeah.
And see, if God can get it through you, God can get it to you.
Yeah.
See? But if we're a block,
Right.
and we're blocking our good, then we're just standing in the way of our miracles. Right?
Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So I've got my work cut out for me.
Oh, there you go.
I've got at least a week's worth
Yeah,
of
how
work.
many miracles are you going to create this week?
I mean, man, before our next session here,
All right.
I've got some work to do,
Good deal.
and so does our cameraman. So
Yes.
he's got to make a miracle he's going to create a miracle by putting this together.
Yes, that's right. And he does an excellent job, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he sure does.
Well, that's some good information. I appreciate it. I think
Thank you, Brandon.
I think that helped me, I know, and some other folks.
Okay.
So
Great.
let's get out there and create some miracles, and we'll see you
Sounds
next time.
good.